another leadership episode from our podcast. And today my guest is somebody very special, Dianne Ojar. She is, president and CEO at Olive Media, and she also runs 3 radio shows: the CEO shows, a Game Changer, and an Expert Entrepreneur. And she also hosts a TV show, Expert Entrepreneur. She's also author of a book, Mrs. Fraud and You. And she's a motivational speaker. She's a relationship builder, entrepreneur, and angel investor. Thank you so much for your time, Dianne. Welcome to your podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wow, very interesting to have, your profile while researching. I'm trying to find, how do you manage time and how do you get all these, things done? How do you run all these shows?
That's a very good question. And thank you for asking that, because sometimes I ask myself the same thing. And when you're having fun doing certain things, it comes effortless. Like today, for example, today is my studio day, my shows. So you have to organize it. Does it get chaotic at times? Of course, because other things are happening as you're rebranding and you're taking care of other projects. But it eventually will all, there's no given day where it's going to be exactly how you planned it, as you know. And of course, also do healing. So in between, I have those as well as the radio. So I take it one day at a time sometimes. That's what I do. I do have a schedule, but one day at a time, because I also have lots of, after 10, I also have lots of trainings that I do as well, with meetings and so forth. So just like you.
I see.
Time.
Yeah. So if you give us a little bit of your background, how did you got into TV shows, radio show? Was that planned or it just happened as you went along? And how do you get involved in business and then all those entrepreneurial shows?
Planned? Oh, that's so funny. No, I didn't plan anything.
Yeah.
I actually came from Trinidad many moons ago, and I was in the financial industry. And that's where, while I was there, I just knew there was something different I had to do. So I literally did my job. I didn't tell my husband. I did my job that day because I knew I had something to share. And that's where this book came about. And you were talking about identity theft and fraud. It was just something I was working on and sharing with people, because I saw it being on the front line at the bank. It was challenging because I heard the stories, I heard the cries, I heard the pleas. So I have to go out there and save the world, right? I have to let people know what I know. Little did I know I was manifesting myself out of there, because my sister was sick about a couple of weeks before. And when I came back, she had CFS. And of course, it's undetectable. And CFS is like vertigo without the imbalance in the brain, in the air. But I didn't know. So for 9 months, I would get sick. I had no clue. They sent me for every test you could possibly think of. But what I didn't realize is that it was stress. It was being where you didn't belong anymore.
Yeah.
The next day, I quit my job. I didn't know what energy was about. I didn't really understand it. But I remember feeling something go through my body like a cycle. Energy is like a flow. It's like a wheel went through my body, and I didn't have any aches and pains anymore. As simple as that. So what happened? 10 years forward, there's a lot of things have happened. And this was 2009. In 2011, I just happened to be at the event that says, you want to write a book? And I was like, me write a book?
Yeah.
But then something caught my attention and said, write what you're passionate about. And that's where the book came about. I was passionate. I am passionate about identity theft and fraud, romance scam and everything else, being from the bank. Think about it. I said, okay, I'm going to write this. That's what I did. I sat there. I didn't know I was being guided. I didn't understand any of that some of my spiritual channels were open, like my direct knowing channel, because I always knew I would get a little thought and say, you should do a book. You should do this. In like a split second. I didn't understand any of that. Now I understand it.
But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically when I wrote the book, I promoted the book for a whole year before I had it. And I was actually going crazy when people asked me, where's the book? Where's the book? I said, no, I'm not doing any more interviews until I get the book printed. And there we are. have the book. So later on, there's a ripple effect in a sense. I ended up, a friend of mine had mentioned to me that there was a radio station was being launched in my area, and he lives all the way in Bradford. So, okay. So I called them. The radio station was really from Markham area. However, it was in Scarborough, so where I live. So I said, okay. So I contacted them. I wanted to drop the book off for them to see if we can do a little quick interview. And when I dropped the book off, I actually went and I contacted one of my cousins who was also in the media. And he said, you should speak to this gentleman. I said, okay. I didn't know the gentleman owned a radio station as well as a TV station.
Okay.
I didn't know that. It was a Caribbean TV station. So when I went and he said, come in. I said, I know you. I said, okay. Because I did some interviews in Trinidad, and at that station they were affiliated with. So he saw the interviews. Okay. And he said, well, why don't you come here and do it? It's okay, because I was doing a traditional radio at a small radio station for fun. And then I got together with my ex-business partner at the time, and my father had a camera. So I said, let's just do a show. I had no clue what we were doing, just did the show. The format of the show was great. I remember the first day, and I launched it on my birthday. So that was another story. We had live audience. It's a lot of work. And the format of the show is, forget about the production side. The format of the show was actually really cool. And I talked to, senator, ministers, artists, so forth. And then we got involved with the carnival here because my ex-business partner was part of the carnival, the official photographer and videographer. So my company now became the official photographer and videographer for the carnival. And it just snowballed there and snowballed there. So we started producing for this TV station that here production, and we gave people productions. And so that's why I started Dianne and You Show.
Okay.
About 2 years. And after that, I just rebranded, doing my best to figure out what life was about, what I was supposed to do. And then I ended up doing my NLP, neurolinguistic programming and hypnotherapy. Why? Because I wanted to find out who I was, and if I'm on the right path. Mm-hmm. That was life transforming because it helped me understand things I didn't even know. I had a bump in my back. It disappeared. People don't understand that. That's okay. I'm not going to convince anyone. But literally, there was a bump in my back. And when I released certain things, which I didn't even know I was releasing, but it meant that much, something I vaguely remember. And that's how the whole journey started, and for many years. So what it did do over the years, it helped me develop and mold signature programs I have, which I was doing anyway. I just didn't know what I was doing. Mm-hmm. Time, because apparently I've been a healer for many, many, many lives. If anybody wants to understand that, okay. If not, it's okay. Mm-hmm. Many lifetimes, because I didn't understand when I was a very young age. I was always more mature when I speak and when I talk to people. I always say to people, I don't know where that's coming from. I think I told you that when we were having a conversation. Mm-hmm. This is coming from. And it just flows. I didn't know what that meant. Until now, I do. So here we are now. I'm also a Dow hands practitioner. Yes, I have healing hands in terms of transmission and so forth. And that's a whole nother story. Mm-hmm. So we have the media side of it. I started doing the radio, a Divine Soul Journey show, just because of the healing side of it. And I always wanted to do a spiritual show, just getting people to talk and open. Mm-hmm. So I did that again for fun. We're in our second year, believe it or not. I can't believe that. And then one day something told me, just go do a gospel show, like a song someone you grew up, just like this. I was like, okay, that's what I do. Okay. Mm-hmm. Up on Saturday, I said, do this show. And it was because it really was in memory of my parents for some odd reason. And I went in there and they love it. Now I have another show. Mm-hmm. We're talking about other shows coming up as well. And I do the odd interviews. And again, that's like the radio part of it, which is in the radio studio. We're here in the TV studio. It's like my playground. Oh, like my playground, to tell you the truth. Mm-hmm. I've been in front of the camera, as you can see. I told you, looking like this. But it's fun.
Mhm.
It's where I relax.
I see.
I don't script anything.
Mhm.
Go with the flow, and I have fun doing it. And so when you ask me how I do it, I just have fun doing it. I love doing it.
Mhm.
You don't have to keep dress up.
I see. So, that's very impressive. You building a business, you're running your TV shows, media company, and also you're discovering yourself, learning by yourself. There's so many things
Yes.
to accomplish. So those TV shows or radio shows, are all of them they're still running, or some of them
Yeah,
stop, or they
absolutely.
still?
No, we're in our second year with our radio shows. And of course, the live shows, do different types of shows. I also have to create some courses. We're working on some courses and so forth. We're working on our website. It should be up by the end of the week. And
Mhm.
on the Exponential Coach. That's a whole nother story. So what we do is, I've been doing this for a long time, and just on a different scale. Now we're looking into how we can help others grow on an exponential rate,
Mhm.
having the breakthrough and the experience they need to tell you the truth. We work with a lot of healers who don't understand their worth, and getting these healers to understand the difference between serving and living. Well,
Mhm.
it's so challenging at times. So that's what we're putting together as well as business owners. And yes, we want to reach out to CEOs because I also do the elephant in the room, where it's a very unique, where we go to the root cause of what's holding you back. I've had people 30, 40, 50, 60 years in their 70s now. They have a lot of modalities. They do a lot of healing, but there was something was holding them back. And for 60 years, didn't understand. Now she's soaring, she's building her business. So although you have all these modalities, if you don't go to the what I call the elephant in the room, the root cause of certain things,
Mhm.
you will be stuck because it's buried so deep inside. And here's a cool part of this. The cool part of this, Amit, is actually it's transformational in real time. So when you experience that, you can your body stands up, your voice gets stronger instantly. And
Mhm.
one person who actually lost 4 inches on her weight and her abdomen because I believe it was attachment in 24 hours. I didn't even know that happened until she said to me about she lost 4 inches. I was like, what are you talking about? She said, when she woke up, her yoga pants wasn't fitting.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's all about attachment. Your body speaks to you.
I see.
So when we incorporate all of this, and I mentioned to you about the soul marketing and so forth now in businesses, and most maybe 99% of people don't know what it is,
Mhm.
marketing, but it's a different approach because I always talk about the 4 pillars: the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual.
Yeah.
Everything has a soul. So when you ask me how I do this, I do it through this.
Mhm.
It gives me the energy. Does that mean you have to do a lot of work on yourself? Yes, you do. But here's it is the attachment to all the noise and well, that's a whole nother story. But when we talk about, we talk about karma, we talk about why is this, why is Goma doing this and I can't do this and so forth. And I might be doing everything right. Well, there's a science to the madness behind all of this, believe it or not. It's not all spiritual. It is spiritual, but there's a science behind everything that happens.
Mhm.
So it's not about people call about, all these mysteries and hocus pocus and so forth. There is literal science behind everything we do, no matter if it's spiritual or not.
Mhm. So this is the one of the area where I know a lot of business leaders, CEO, president, are listening. That we all struggle with that as a personal development on finding out, hey, I'm doing this, but maybe my potential is more than what I'm doing. So discovering potential is one of the challenges. I think a lot of business leaders understand, and they're trying to find, what's possible out there. Maybe what I'm doing is there's a lot more possible than what I'm doing right now.
Absolutely.
So when you say
Absolutely.
what you are alluding to, elephant in a room, that allow you to discover what's the potential and get rid of all the obstacles and achieve your potential. So what kind of if you give us a couple examples, what do you find generally? Is it people physically that they have some sort of obstacle? Is it spiritually? Is it simply that they have a blind spot? What do you generally find with people?
There's so, and thank you. That is a really loaded question. I'll do my best to break it down. So here's,
Yeah.
first of all, your life leads you to your business. Your life feeds your business. Your life, your personal life, I mean, controls your business. Your business does not control your life.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do? How you do one thing is how you do everything. So there's no one out there can tell me that you don't usually take home your business and your personal life to business. You have to separate the two. But your personal life will also dictate very much how you operate your business. You're the CEO of your home, you're the CEO of your business.
Mm-hmm.
So you start from there. So I had a comment, by the way, if you notice the gurus or the CEOs and the all the leaders, they are very spiritual. They just don't go out and talk about it. They won't do certain things unless they speak to the spiritual connector. They pay a lot of money. A lot and let me tell you something, it is worth it. I am good at what I do and I know what I'm worth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you're worth and willing to work on yourself. I recently asked a question. I've been talking about this in some of the shows. Self-healing and self-development. Let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
What is your interpretation? Do you believe self-healing and self-development is the same thing?
No, I think it's two different things.
What do you believe it is?
Well, self-development is a skill development. I believe that you can develop skills. You can whatever the goal you're trying to achieve. My goals are usually aligned to whatever skill I want to develop is aligned to my goals. Hey, what goal I want to achieve? Then I develop my skills to align that with the goals. And I think self-healing is more spiritual. The way I look at it, you're just healing whatever you need to heal in your spiritual side, and so you can be achieve. You can develop yourself later on. So I think the self-healing has to come first, then you develop your skills, whatever you feel like.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you for sharing that. And that's exactly what it is. So we want to do self-development. We go to all these events, you get the information, but what happens? Do you implement it? Do you put it into play? You have, this is my philosophy and many others. You have to stop. You have to think, right? You have to plan, and then you have to take action. That formula in anything that you do. So again, with your life, you wonder the CEOs, and I know as a CEO and yourself and everyone else, there's no one out there can say, I am perfect. I am not perfect. I know I have a lot of work to do on myself, and you constantly have to work on yourself. You have to work on it. And then what happens is that as you climb up this ladder of self-development and self-worth and self-healing, you're going to be more and more tested because you're going to be in a different space.
Mm-hmm.
Not to disrespect anyone, but I want to be real here with everyone. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. And those who would like to reach out and find out more, please do, because it's a whole new world that you don't know out there. You don't, not because you're, the top in your game, you're ahead of your game, means that everything is perfectly fine. You're unhappy, you're not loved, you have a lack of something, but you have to be whole and one with yourself. You may be making the money, but are you happy? How many CEOs, have relationship issues, relationship within themselves, relationship with their families, relationship with their spouses, relationship with their children, relationship with money, relationship with their business, relationship with so many things. Now, you wonder why many have achieved and moved forward and have not. People may think this is a little bit odd here. Again, I'm not here to convince anyone. So resonate.
Yeah, no worries.
It's okay. So here's the thing. If I say to you, if you believe this or not, you look like your grandparents, you look like your parent and so forth. So you got DNA running through your blood RNA, right? So do you not believe you may have picked up the traits from ancestors as well? So good. That's where people thrive, because we're here to do better in this lifetime for our soul, our spirit, if you want to believe that or not. Yes, everything has a soul, your business, everything, your tree, the plant, everything has a soul. a soul, a heart, and a mind, a lot of it comes from your ancestors. So if ancestors didn't do really nice things, you will pay the price down the road in karma. You wonder why you struggle. You have to release that. And I know this because, again, talking about self-healing, to understand, this is why I wanted to understand, coming back to NLP, who I am, who I was, and where I'm going, if I'm on the right path, who I was in a past life. And why does I speak this way? And why things come out my mouth I don't understand? Now I understand. Now I understand about the past life. And now I know I have a heaven's team. This is not about religion. I just want people to understand we all have a side to us that at this day and age, especially in this soul-like era that we're going through, which is every 15,000 years, the last one started in the soul-like era in August 8, 2003, for those who want to find out more. And this is all documented. So I'm not just out in context. So we're here and you wonder why all these things are happening. I don't put energy to it, so I don't mention the names really. But why all these things are happening? And there's a why. Because I believe we have lost connection with who we are. We've lost connection with society. We've lost connection with Mother Earth. We've lost connection and our identity. We are all money driven. To a certain degree, do you agree or disagree with that? We're mostly money driven now.
Well, we live in an economic planet, right? So everything has a money involved. So yeah, we live in this planet. Yeah, we have to be money driven because that's how somebody has to survive.
Right. We are money driven. And the reason why I said we are money driven is the fact that we put the money first. Here's the thing, the money will come. And we have to put ourselves first. Yes, you're selfish about certain things. And you have to put the customer first, the client. Listen, nobody is going to care about you unless they know you care about them. If your customer or client knows that you care about them, then they're willing to come to you. That's where money comes in. So people would say, how they usually would say it's mind, body, and soul. That's not the case. It's actually soul, heart, mind, body. Put it in the reverse. And that's what soul marketing is about. You have to, it's more to it, but that's what it is. So when I say money driven, a lot of people say, I want to make this money. I want to make this. They're not willing to do the work to put it in there. And the way they market and so forth, it's very different. Again, like I said, you have to approach it in a sense. And for everyone, all the CEOs and so forth who has accomplished in the business, that is amazing. I congratulate you. Let's look at the other side, because you want everything around you to work as one. What's happening on the personal life, your life? What's happening in the relationship? What's happening inside of you? One of the things I see a lot in, and I'm not saying this happens to everyone, is trauma, childhood trauma, a lot of abuse, physical, mental, sexual, limiting decisions. All these things happen. Why? And it's buried so deep inside, and you wonder in the back of your mind, why I feel like this, why something's wrong. What happens? That's where the elephant comes in.
Yeah.
And yes, I do. So I am just saying to everyone, self-healing is big right now. It's getting a little bit more attention. There's self-development. However, you need to start from the inside out.
Yeah, that's that part I learned hard way, actually. When I started a business about 13, 14 years ago, and I thought business development is simply going out, working hard and running your sales team or your marketing team. But I didn't know much about that. Business development is not about developing something. Business development is developing yourself. It's internal, not external. So when you start changing your perspective on things, when you start learning about yourself, that actually, excel your business development. So it took me a few years to learn that. That's what I went on a path to learn that. But that's what I find that, more you develop yourself, more you learn about yourself, and more you obtain new perspective, your business grows as a result of it. So when you discover that, when you find out more by yourself, did that change your business? Did that change your shows? Did that change your perspective, how you are running a business before?
Self-discovery is almost everything.
Yeah.
It is not the ultimate answer or the only answer. It's a big, huge part of it. What does that mean? Now, if you're self-discovering yourself, I know it sounds repetitive, self-discovering yourself, but that's basically what you're doing. You're beginning to understand who you are. You're beginning to understand your DNA, your characteristics. We talk about astrology. Let's talk about astrology here for a moment.
Sure.
Planets, we say we are Leo. Well, I always have this conversation with my girlfriend saying, I'm a Taurus. And she says, yes, that's a Taurus trait. And believe it or not, that is a Taurus trait.
Yeah.
It's a Taurus trait because basically, it's I'm like everything like a Taurus. And she said, yes, we're stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
We give everything we have. We will give our ultimate attention and love, and we don't give up on people, and there's more and more. So when we talk about those traits, it's the same thing. Self-discovery, you discover who you are. Grow, move on and grow in your spiritual journey, or any journey for that matter. You tend to find that things change. It's like your taste and this changes for certain things. Your likes change. The way you approach life changes. Everything. Sorry, it's bothering me. So one of the things we need to say is, why is this happening? And yes, we have to detach. If we don't detach, what doesn't serve us anymore? I'm not saying you have to. There's a lot of drama there. And of course, as you know, biggest lessons, there's no failures or mistakes. It's the biggest lessons come with the deepest pain and hurt. Why? If you haven't gone through that, you will not experience certain things in life. It's self-discovery. There for you. There was a point when I actually embraced and said, thank you for the good, the bad, and the ugly. Meaning that, why did this happen to me? I coulda, shoulda, woulda. No. If you coulda, shoulda, woulda, then you wouldn't be who you are today.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be. You wouldn't be the person sitting there today. I wouldn't be the person sitting here today. But when we hold on to attachments, that's where we run into trouble. Be emotional, react on the emotional side. I'm not saying being cold, right? Be logical. But again, as you're growing and climbing up that ladder, those levels, you become a different person. Different people come in your space. You attract different people. I'm not saying that the law of attraction is the law of attraction and say, click your heels and something's going to happen. There's work that needs to be done. And it starts with you. You have the ability to control your space. So as a CEO, if you are the cold type of person, when I mean you're so regimented and there's no personality, and we know there's many out there, how do you think your employees feel? They would not feel it. But if you are here, who people work with you, I'm not saying you have to be buddies, but you show a smile or you show appreciation, your production, at the end of the day, your production line will actually work.
Yeah.
Well, again, it comes back with you. You can change. Smile. Do you know how an employee feels when you just give them a smile? You don't even have to say a word in the morning and just passing or just, it means the world to them that they have some type of self-worth and they will do so much for you.
Yeah. Just sense the energy. It is
energy. And here's the thing, when you're in business and cooperation and sometimes you forget. I remember my AGM when I left the bank. About 2 weeks after I saw him because he wasn't there, and he came to me and he said, come, I need to talk to you. I was like, okay. I actually went back 2 weeks after because they had a little party or something. And I told him I didn't want any party or something. I said, come, I need to talk to you. He said, what's going on here? I said, I don't know. Because I know when I told a couple of directors on the HR and so forth, I said, I don't know if I have to build villages. I don't know what I need to do. I just need to know that there's something more out there for me. It just came the snap of the fingers? No, it didn't. However, And I told him, I said, okay, I respect your wishes. I said, I don't know what I have to do. And a couple months after I heard that he retired too. And he was a sweetheart. But here's the thing. He used to interact. His name was Mike. And he used to interact with everybody in hi, hello, because he used to run a couple centers for the bank. And so he's always traveling and so forth. But he would take the time to pass by and drop by and have a chat or a smile. And that's the way he was. So we loved him. I was really cool with him. So I was comforted just to walk into his office and Mike, do you have a moment? And type of thing. And yeah. So I'm not saying anybody's doing anything wrong. Continue to do what you're doing. But if you feel in your gut there's something more that's missing, something that you're looking for, or why you're listening to this show today, and I thank you for this, is even for yourself. I mean, this is only for them. It's also for you. It's also for me. It's always for me as well. There must be a reason why you're listening to this show today. Go glimpse it. Stop for a moment to hear parts, and you'll hear what you can hear and go back and listen to it. Because every time you listen to it, might be, oh, you know what? Maybe there's something to it.
There's something to it, yeah.
There's something here for me. Why is this for me? And as crazy as it sounds, crying is healing. As crazy as it sounds, reaching out, asking for help is healing. We are actually right now creating a space solely for men. I'm the only woman in it. And it's going to be a private group, a Facebook group. Everybody's welcome. And it's a support. It's called Men Empowerment Network. There's there's one there. And the idea behind that is because I'm also the founder of International Men's Day Canada, as you know. But I always have a soft spot for men because men open up different to women. Women have a little bit more, attention and drama behind them sometimes. Men, again, a little bit reserved, and they're hiding and they're hurting. And so they are leaders and they are partners and our fathers and our brothers. We need to be there for them and say it's okay to show emotion. It's okay. And a lot of them have been abused. And it really breaks my heart to know, because I know quite a few people who have gone through so much, and it doesn't matter how much therapy they do, they're still spinning their wheels because it's not helping. And I said, you know what? We need to do something about this. So I talked to a few of my guys and said, I'm just going to create this, but you guys going to run it. I'm going to be there. You guys going to run it. And we're going to create a show as well about it. But the guys are going to run it. The men in the group are going to run it, the team. And it's a safe space for those who want to have someone accountable, to get them through and say, you know what, something's wrong, talk it out. If they choose to be public to share their story, then they can go on that show. And then I will have them on the radio show in the Divine Soul Journey. We want men to come up more and start sharing. It's okay to show how vulnerable you are. It's okay to share your pain. It's okay because you never know, like you are right now, sharing this, who you're going to help, who's going to be touched,
Interesting.
who's going to say, yeah, and that's why we share. Sharing is actually healing, and it's okay to cry.
Yeah.
It's okay to cry.
Very interesting. So let's talk about COVID. What are your thoughts on COVID? I know you have a different reason, the way you look at energy that, that the way it happened, what are your thoughts on, there's so much impact on businesses, on a personal life, people's devastated, and definitely looks like it's here to stay for a long time. What are your thoughts? I'd like to, if you can share with the audience, what do you think of it? How do you think it's going to end up?
Well, thank you for that. First of all, I don't give energy to COVID, so I don't say COVID.
Okay.
Don't really talk about it. However, since you brought up the topic, what we do know, I spoke about the sword light era. I'm going to talk on the spiritual side of it to make more sense. And people say, why is this happening? First of all, what people do with power, it affects everyone. And we are controlled. We are controlled society. Plain and simple. With the big boys and so forth, we are controlled. And here's the thing behind all of this. We don't know why this happens. We don't know. We can only speculate. Some people do. But if you notice, as time goes by, when we used to have smallpox, I grew up with smallpox and so forth. We had SARS, we had all these other, different flus and so forth. Why is this one different?
Mm-hmm.
Here's this one. Again, I'm not here to disrespect anybody. It's a bit of control, but it's also about, on the spiritual side, it's when I had spoken before, Mother Earth is actually tired because everything is being neglected. You can see the wastelands, you can see the pollution, you can see I used to live in New York and you couldn't breathe in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to New York?
Yeah, been a while, but yeah.
Right. So you know how smoggy it is?
Yeah.
And it's really, now Manhattan, for example, you have all these buildings, but Manhattan is about less than 7 miles, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
A little less than 24 miles by 7 miles and so forth. I used to live in Queens, but you can't breathe. And through the pandemic now, it's first time people go out and say, I can breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Why? It tells you what us humans were doing. Now we're progressing. We're in the fourth industrial revolution. We're progressing with all the AI and so forth, which is really cool. But what is it doing to us?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, this is not the end. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. Our lifestyles will change. Our way of thinking will change. Our behaviors will change. The unfortunate part is, even, here's a funny thing about all of this. It kind of boggles my mind. I know those who have thrived and achieved and done well, awesome. There is a shift. I actually wrote a chapter recently about, redefining the business in the next 10 years, what I call it like the new norm. And, with the business, unfortunately, for employees, it's a little bit more difficult in China. But I notice a lot of people have also taken granted, and they feel entitled to things, and they got comfortable, never saving for a rainy day. Because I'm saying to you, and this is just my opinion, when I looked at the what's been happening, people are spending more outside. I was telling a girlfriend yesterday, the day before, people stop cooking, or they're home more. So these other services are thriving. Everybody went into delivery and so forth, which is fine. But it's coming back to the simple things. If you're home, when I grew up, I'm older than you, I'm sure. But when I grew up, and most people relate to this, what you had. You only had 3 meals, but you were contented with this. Now you have so much you can do, and we've gotten a little bit lazy in how we do things. But still survive and a limited budget. But because the government is actually helping us, then they take it for granted, but that's going to stop. Businesses as well, and I'm an advocate for small businesses, small medium businesses. Why? Is that they took a long time, the government, and I'm not here to bash the government, that's not why I'm here, but I'm just want to understand this. It took a long time before they helped the business, because they themselves didn't know what was happening. At one point last year, at the beginning, I had about 30-something students, internship students, in the beginning of the pandemic. Do you know how challenging that was? Because nobody knew what was going on. They knew nothing. They didn't know what was going on. And these are international students. So things have changed very much. What we are seeing right now is that the employees want to hear less talk, want to hear more. Do the work, do the work for the employer to do more. The other thing about it is positioning is key. This is positioning. You position yourself, I'm positioning myself. This show is positioning itself, saying, how do we get the word out there? In the community, you have to position yourself in the community. And those who are thriving this particular time in this new norm that we call the new norm, because it's not going to get any probably better than this. There's the tweaks, but it's never going to be back to where it was, is the fact that you have to know how to position yourself. So everybody wants to do a podcast. I don't call it podcast, I call it a show.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to do this. Everybody wants to do that. People want, why? This is positioning. This book is positioning. You become an, you do, everybody wants to do a course. Everybody is a coach. It's all about positioning in this community. And when you position yourself in the community, you can help the community. Because then you say, remember, I go back to what I said, the soul. Nobody will care about you until they know you care about them. Same thing for the business. Your customer will not write that check, pull out that credit card until they know that you care about them. So again, it's the same community. The community will support you if they know that you care about them. So with your employees, a lot of people working from home, correct?
Yes.
Again, some of them feel that they feel like, okay, I have my job, it's secure to a certain degree. Yes and no. It takes longer to train somebody now to work from home and so forth. But I've seen a lot of people, and I know, and I've had conversations with my girlfriends and so forth, that people are taking advantage of the situation working at home. It's not easy to work at home and not to get back. So, I mean, there's a long discussion around all of that, but the long is this is here to stay. The Soul Life era is a cleanup purification part of it. This is what's happening. There's a lot of changes have to be done. You know, again, going back way before your time, for those who remember, there was a show called Lost in Space back in the 60s, 70s, 60s. I don't know if you read. You know, I grew up in that era. So, and who would believe we'd be having robots now? You know, talk about, you know, I sound like a little kid here now. I am a big kid. Okay. I can't believe I'm telling CEOs this. This is what there's a show called Thunderbird. It's with Louise animation, and we're talking about going up in space, and the creation of it is amazing. I loved it growing up. But who would believe that that's the life, that's what era we're in now? Just Star Trek. Who would believe those things done? You know, you talk about cloning, you talk about holograms, and talk about all these things. All these things were discovered a long time ago. And it's coming back. So there's a lot of things going to happen. Yes, a lot more is coming. A lot more illnesses, diseases, and so forth is going to come. It's going to be, you know, it's very challenging because everybody's doing their best to understand this. We'll say this. It's our responsibility, whether you're anti or not, to be smart about everybody around you and take responsibility. Not here to convince anyone, not here to encourage anyone to take whatever precautions they have to take. But what I'm saying to you is that just be smart about, if you don't have to go anywhere, don't go anywhere. Not prove to say, I can go. That's what it was. I know where I'm Trinidad, people like to party. And it's the fact that they want to show people I can still go and do it. And they're under curfew. So all these things I want to say is, and there's more and more, but I said, I don't give energy to it. I don't talk about it because we just have to do our parts. What I would say is that, yes, for those who have thrived in this and gone online, you have to position yourself. And many don't know how to do it. And this is where we come in and we say, okay, how can we get your business from X dollars to, you know, X amount of dollars, if that's the case. And it's, it doesn't really matter what you do. It's all about your worth, you're worth. Because I know a lot of people who have really amazing talents. They just don't know how to package it to put it together.
So let's talk about business leaders or CEOs at the end now. If somebody trying to build a business or scale business, one thing you mentioned is positioning. Another one is relationship building. What are the few things that you think they should be? Not every business leaders. We have to focus is one of the things, right? So we don't have unlimited energy or unlimited time. There's always constraint on those things. So you got to pick and choose where you want to spend your time and energy on. So if you were to recommend somebody or if you have to guide somebody, hey, listen, these are the few items that you must pay attention to, or that's where you want to focus on. What would be the few things that you would recommend that hey, listen, focus on these items. These are so critical that you can eliminate.
Question. Okay, so here's some of the things. I'm going to put it on the 4 pillars, I call it, the physical, emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. Listen to your gut.
Yeah.
Listen to the people around you. Listen to the feedback that you're getting from them. Don't take it to heart. They're there for a reason. At the end of the day, none of this exists. By the way, I don't know if you understand this, but this is like a hologram to us, because everything that comes to us is not about the person. It's not about you. It's not about where we're doing the recording. It's about us. It's about a message coming to us.
Yeah.
The questions and the conversation we're having is about each one of us who is listening to this right now. So, and see what you're getting out of it, and stop and think and say, how does this affect my life? What is this doing? Am I happy? Are things working the way? What changes do I need to make? Do I need to start with myself? And if you don't know the answer to those questions, then go seek the answers. Connect with someone, or connect with yourself. The point is, we humans, we all humans, whether it be CEO and so forth, you got to act a part. In the old days, the CEOs or the chairpersons and the board of directors were all gender dominated. And there was a different, even the courts and so forth, it was all different. The government was all run on a gender base. I'm going to put that. It's difficult. But we have equal playing fields now. We have as many, or probably more CEOs, females than male.
Yeah.
We always hear that the women are soaring and they're killing it. They really need to use the word kill, but you understand what I'm saying. Then why is it? I'm not here to disrespect anyone. We come from a different, we were trained differently. We have different characteristics and traits in us. We're actually more nurturing. Men want to be nurturing now. Want to understand that soft side of it. I had an article a friend had sent me once. He's supposed to be a genius. He's very factual and so forth. And when he sent him, I said, this is really cold. Where's the personality in this? He said, well, I don't know how to write like that. I went and I kind of put some personality in there. Show your personality, show your soft side. There is a soft side. There's a human side to all of us. So at the end of the day, I'm saying just be yourself. Be happier. Ask the questions. If you're not sure what the question is, there might be many, just sit back and say, make a list. What makes me smile? What makes me get up in the morning? If you love your job, awesome.
Yeah.
You love everything around you and pretty much put in perspective. So when we listen to your gut, your gut is your soul. It's your spirit. It's your life of breath. It will never harm you. It's there to protect you, but it's there to teach you lessons. If you're in a business that you're not happy, then you probably should not be in that business.
Yeah.
And if you're a motivational speaker, or you want to start doing that, to start sharing or be a mentor, well, you got to have, everybody has a mentor. Everybody has other teachers. We're all teachers and we're all students at the same time. You're not here alone. You have many, many people who would support you.
Yeah.
So talk about, the mental. Mentally, you have to position your mind, not work from your mind. You have to train your mind, reprogram your mind to work in sync with everything else you're doing.
But that's the challenge, though. That's the challenge. There's so much noise out there, especially with the digital age. There's messages coming from cell phones, from TVs, from and news medias, and there's so much clutter in the digital world these days. The social media. That's very hard to listening to your gut and paying attention to your mental energy. That's a challenge. That's not easy to get over. I think. Go ahead.
Here's the thing about this. It's nothing is easy. And everything to most people is the unknown. It's a risk.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't know how to do this. I've never done this. But here's the thing. If you do it once,
Yeah.
no longer new.
Yeah.
Just have to tweak.
You've done it once.
Right, you did it once. Okay, so it's a pilot. Every show we do is a pilot. It doesn't matter if you're in the 100th season. Every show is a pilot. Why? You will still find flaws. You will still find things you could tweak. You could still do this. You can still do this. You can still tweak. Everything is a pilot. So you're constantly tweaking. It's the same thing. You're not broken to be fixed. You can be just tweaked. And as you reach this level, you got to tweak. And you reach this level, you got to tweak. But the mental mind part is, yes, certain habits we have. Stop looking at TV, any kind of news, just before you go to bed.
Control yourself.
Change it.
Mm-hmm.
Go to bed. I had a TV in my room, and I take it and put it as a monitor in the studio now. So now I don't have a TV in that room. I don't literally have cable either. But if you get news, listen, you just have to go on social media and you can find all the information you want.
Yeah.
But again, take something, a book, and read it. That's more self-development, because in the nighttime, your brain actually and truly is preparing you for the next day. And mentally, if you speak to a lot of the leaders, who are healers too, they're also healers. But if you speak to leaders, if you ask them their routine, you will see it's very different to yours. There's a pattern. There's structure. This is their work time. This is your meditation time. This is their squash time. This is their tennis time. And it's a discipline. They need the time. So that's how you train the mental mind, and your body get used to it. There is a Chinese, I should send it to you, and it tells us certain parts of the day, the time when your body, like 8 o'clock, from 8 to 10, I believe your liver starts to work. So when should you stop eating, and know when you should be resting or when you should take it easy? The coffee, to stop the coffee. The alcohol. What threw me away is that through this whole situation, the liquor store was open.
Yeah.
Now, people are mentally hurting, but then you have something to encourage them to suppress. It's money making, and I'm here to say it. And that always boggles my mind.
Yeah.
And people, so all these little things that you do, a lot of people I know now who are leaders and healers, in the sense that they're spiritual, or their business is growing and they're motivational and they're helping others. They don't drink alcohol anymore. They don't really drink coffee. They're doing toxic, they're cleansing. And if people, anyone wants to know how to do that, there's a lot of things that you can change, a lifestyle. But it is possible. Because if I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, definitely.
What's changed? Everything's changed. And we wouldn't even talk about the 5 elements, but I'll quickly mention it. We have the wood element, which is the liver.
Okay.
We also have the heart element. The fire element is the heart. Then we also have, the metal, the earth, which is the spleen, the lungs, and the kidney, which is the water element. Anyway, and of course, each of one of these have an unbalanced emotion. Worry affects your spleen.
Yeah.
Okay. Anger affects your liver. Anxiety is affecting your heart. The point I'm saying to you is that, the guilt and the lungs and so forth. But what I'm saying to you is, one of the number one reasons of cancer, hypothetically, is anger. Lots of anger, worry, all of these, they all work together. And the small intestine, the large intestines, and so forth. And there's a yin and a yang to everything. So listen to your body. Everything is reversible. Everything is reversible. You just have to pay attention. Worry is spleen. Definitely so. Anger is liver. Right? They're all important, But those two, if I mean, we have, depression and of course the heart. Open your heart and it will melt all blockages. And when you open your heart, and I do the hands blessing where, yes, if your third eye is open, you can actually see the light coming from my, by the way, I'm not the one doing it, not to scare anybody here. The one doing it. We have a connection here and you have to be chosen for this. And I didn't know my whole life. I was not makes sense now. But I'm saying to you, and this is where we work from in the business from the inside, because every business has a heart. You always hear people say the heart of a business. There is a heart in the business. There's a soul in the business. We work from the soul, heart, mind, body, and the matter. That's the way it works. That's where soul marketing comes in as well. You got to work with the soul, and many business owners who understand this. I actually do know the person who helped set up Bill Gates' office on Microsoft. I actually know him. He was on my show, and we've done a Cash Records reading and so forth. And he was brought in to tell Bill where to put his office and so forth. Well, people don't know these things. So have this office, the feng shui side of it and so forth. All of these things mean something. So I hope the question, because
it's very interesting. So much information. But I'd like to know, Dianne, everybody, we all look for information. We all look for help when we need it. I think CEO, president, one of the things they're very good at finding information, what they need to use it. Where do you go find information? What books you read? Where do you, for your self-development, where do you find your information?
I have been fortunate. I get information from lots of places. And of course, the way I pick up information now, here's the funny thing about this. When people used to come to my office, my space, the studio, I would say to them sometimes, you came here not for the reason why you came here, and they'll end up starting to tell me their whole life story and so forth. They don't know me, and I'll say, okay, you cannot leave you cannot leave the space the same way you came in. So I would give them, talk to them and say, okay, tell me what is your biggest fear, and right there and then, and that's what happens. A lot of it comes naturally in terms of developing that, but there's a science behind it. There's facts behind it. Over the years of learning with my NLP was huge. And of course, my spiritual father, which is very well known. I mean, we have, these books here, which these all have a lot of there's many of them, powerful messages and calligraphies and stuff, which is all healing. This is the soul marketing on, and tons of books. So I was led to the right place at the right time, although this was supposed to be almost about 2013. I was led to this space, and I didn't do it until 6 years after, which I was led back, and it literally saved my life. And there's a lot of teachings and on the inside to the outside. So I do, in terms of business, I look at other trainings. I do attend trainings, plus we have a lot of our trainings. But what we do with our trainings and teachings within, we talk a lot about in the inside out, the self-healing and so forth, which makes sense. Which how we do one thing is how we do everything. So there is information out there and practices, and you got to do your part. It just doesn't come to you. You have to do your part, and I have to do my part. I don't probably do my part as much as I should, like everybody else, but it's a discipline. Yeah. So if people want to find out more about that, definitely. So, all I'm saying is that if you're listening to this right now, the show, I thank you. I thank you for taking the time. And there must be a reason why you're listening to this show. You could be doing something else, but something drew you to this. And this is exactly what it is, the energy. And I always say to people, you are asking for something. And strange enough, I'm probably the one. There was a young girl who had an accident about 8 years ago. And I had her on the show, and I saw a video of her on the training I was on. And I just caught the attention with the Hardy, and I said, I need to talk to her. And we did a show. It's actually aired this weekend. And for 8 years, she's had knee replacement. She used to be a nurse and so forth. 8 years, she had two different types of pains in her knee. And I did, and I was talking to her and I gave this blessing, and the pain was gone. Her heart was open up and the pain was gone. And I said, what? She said, yeah, it went to zero. She said she's never, ever. I told her some of the things to do that night, what to listen to. She said in her 8 years, she's never been pain-free. And the first time she slept in 8 years like a baby. And then we had on the show and I gave her a blessing. And she said, there's other people that she know. And it is possible that there is healing.
Mm-hmm.
There is possible. So every part of your body, any pain that you have is linked in attachment. Your heart, your shoulder, your knee, your foot, if you have leg problems, arthritis, according to people, there's a science behind it. Don't get me wrong. We've had some, later on I'll be doing a show with a CEO of a radio station, and she was actually diagnosed with cancer. And she's very public about it, so it's okay. Cancer. And about a month and a half, we did a lot of healing with her. I got some other people to come in. And when she went back, about a month and a half after, it was gone. And the doctors up to this day cannot understand. She had a pacemaker, everything. They were monitoring her, everything. It was gone. And she stood in her car and she was crying because she's spiritual. She's done a lot of modalities. But here's the thing. So there is hope. We're not here to convince people. We're not here to guarantee everything because it has a lot to do with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So just saying, I guess the moral to this whole show is listen to yourself, pay attention to yourself, love yourself, find out more about yourself, who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Once you do that, the rest is just magic, like I did when I said in NLP. I remember my master teacher said to me, on the wall, she had a list of all the different programs. And she said, which one? She was asking everyone. I said, I don't know. I want to go there. She said, I know that. At the time, I didn't understand but third eye and so forth. More or less, I just thought she was so magical because she could just see and read into my soul. She used to read my mind. And you can. And she said, I knew that. I didn't know where, how, what, but I just know I needed to go up there.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because I had to discover things. And I did one of the training called the trainer's training, which changed my life completely even more because you go in there one person, you come out completely different.
Interesting.
So I'm just here to say, yourself, listen to yourself, and how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Mm-hmm.
Change you, tweak you, love you. It will show up in your other areas of your life, in your business, relationships, negotiations and so forth. And those who are soaring, I thank you for being the leaders and, paving the way for us coming up to be
Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
I invite you to have a conversation with me. Just we are reaching out to CEOs and executives and so forth and say,
mm-hmm.
You reach success now. What is the next step for you? Because when you reach that point, it's okay. What do I do next? What is for me? Because then you get bored. Then you get challenged. And then it gets more like, okay, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
So I hope answers your question.
Yeah, no, definitely. I know you got a show to run to, but definitely, I will encourage all that, the leaders are watching this show or president or CEO, definitely reach out to you, have a conversation with you, have a chat with you, and be open to new perspective. I learned so much from our conversation, and I'm sure our leaders will learn us, from you. There's so much wealth of knowledge, that information you have that people can learn. Anything we missed at the end that you wanted to share with the leaders or any president, that any message you have for these leaders?
But before we do that, and thank you so much, I will, when we have a moment, I will actually offer you a healing, a blessing for areas in life, and not today, but so you can understand what I'm saying behind all
Definitely.
this. It will be my pleasure to do so.
Thank you.
I am just saying, I know the message I want to give again. is life doesn't have to be complicated. You just have to be open. You just be open to the possibilities, not the probability. The probability basically says, I probably can do it. And the possibility is I can do it. My variation song, like 40 years ago, I'm giving my age now, 40 years ago, was The Impossible Dream. And, a lot of I went to a convent. I didn't live in the convent, but it was all girls' school. We talk about that, and everybody's like, yes, nothing is impossible, because I can tell you, I don't like the camera. I love photography. I'm not good at it because I have it. I like to play around with it. What I'm saying to you is that I never really liked the camera for many reasons, because I used to sound like a chipmunk and so forth. Oh, here's the funny thing. Looking at the camera, I don't look at the camera. I have conversations with people. So I'm saying to you is that there is always hope. The one that we want to do is become one with ourselves holistically and be well-rounded. If you're not sure, just reach out. You don't have to be open to everybody, but if you're comfortable with that person, share.
Yeah.
It's always good to de-stress and somewhere to go for something. And I would urge everyone to take a moment and go by the water. Anywhere you have water, and just sit for a moment and start enjoying and relaxing. As crazy as that sounds, it's so therapeutic, because I know when in 2018, I went to Trinidad and I went to Tobago, and I knew Tobago was calling me. I went in 2012, and I didn't really have a chance to enjoy it, but I knew I had to go back, and I went there. And that was life-changing for me. And I just let it out. And before I went, my accountant said, "What is wrong with you?" And I came back, he said, "What happened to you?" You just leave it there, because that's where the transformation takes place. You just let it go and just start breathing. We need to stop and breathe. We need to stop and enjoy what we have around us, the nature. And if we enjoy that and appreciate it, it will give us back the love and energy that we need to survive and thrive in here. And you will see there's a whole shift in everything that you do. Make a little sanctuary, go out and just relax. Take time for yourself, away from the office, away from your business, especially since we work from home now. And just take time, regardless. It doesn't matter if it's 5-10 minutes, and gradually, and start writing down. I know this may sound, most people, again, those who are here will understand what I'm saying, because you're here for a reason. You're looking for an answer. You just love Gurmit, and you just have to hear me.
Yeah.
But it's not one size fits all.
Yeah.
But at least you could take the attempt to put your foot in the shoe and see if it can fit. And I'll guarantee you at least half your foot can fit, or it might fit. Yeah. Not sure where that came from, but that's
interesting.
analogy. But just take time and say, it's time for me to discover who I am, what is next in my life. I've achieved what I can achieve, and I'm missing something inside of me. I need to discover some things that were in the back of your mind that's coming up to the forefront or rising, and say, why did this happen? If I can help you, please reach out to me. And go.
Where can people find you, Dan? I was going to ask you, where can they find you? How can they connect with you?
Well, I'm all over LinkedIn and so forth.
Yeah.
And definitely you can email me at info@theexponentialcoach.com, or you can do Dianne@media-OMN.ca if you like that as well. Or connect with me on LinkedIn and just message me, say, where you saw this. If that's the case, I'll know that's what it is. And I want to thank everybody who's always reaching out and sending me all these anniversary and birthday wishes and so forth, because that's how it is as well. So you never know who is looking, you never know who is asking, and here we are, because that's exactly what happened to us, right?
Definitely. You connected somehow, right? So interesting.
Yes, thank you.
Good stuff. I enjoy our conversation. I learned so much from our discussion, and I'm sure people who are watching, they find a great value, and they can reach out to you and have a discussion and see what where life takes us from there, right?
Yes, absolutely. I
Right.
truly appreciate it. I love
Right.
talking about it. Again, like I said, it doesn't have to be complicated.
Exactly.
Have someone to hold your hand with you. And there's always somebody willing to walk the journey with you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for time, Dianne. I appreciate your time and I appreciate you being on the show. Thank you so much. And have yourself a great day. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good one. Bye-bye.